All right, it is head coach Tim here. It is Tuesday, September the 25th, and I'm in this like cozy little office space. It's fantastic. Let's talk about Tuesday's workout though. Yeah, we got long form cardio. What else is new? But today's format is a familiar one, but one we can't do all the time because it's pretty challenging. It's the train leaves the station every 4 minutes type of format today. Or we can call that intervals, whatever it is that you want to call it. The idea is you need to get some work done in 4 minutes, because if you don't, that train leaves without you, and we can't have that. I like to call that going underwater. Just a quick note, if you did yesterday's workout unbroken, which many of you challenged yourself to do, which we are super proud of, and today's workout is very challenging. You get to decide to, if you want, you get to take 2 rounds off today, whichever 2 you want. All right, let's go into exactly what it is. 3, 2, 1, go. You have 4 minutes to do a 400-meter run, followed by 12 burpee pull-ups, aka GI Janes. Really got to make sure that those pull-ups are using the jump so that they are not overly taxed, more difficult than they need to be. The next 4-minute interval, and we'll just keep bouncing back and forth for 40 minutes or 5 per type of round, 10 total rounds, is a 500-meter row followed by 12 burpee over rower. So there's a couple things going on here. Number one, people like to row generally better than they like to run. And yet, our conversion scale that we've always used is such that a 400-meter run equals a 500-meter row, meaning like it should take you just roughly the same amount of time to do a 400-meter run as it does a 500-meter row. And yet, we know that's not generally true, right? Because you might have a preference, or you just might not feel like you're somebody who can run mechanically correct. You like rowing more than you like running. I think that's probably the version of that we see more often, but there are probably some of you who like running more than they like rowing, or are better at running than they are at rowing. In either case, it'd be great if both the run and the row today could equal each other as best as possible, like be about 2 minutes each, maybe give or take, depending on which one of those movements you like. And then the other thing to keep in mind for today's purposes is that a burpee pull-up should be seen as like a one-part thing, like it takes you to just as much time to do one burpee pull-up as it would to do a 1 burpee over rower. That'd be ideal, and yet some people are going to view it as a burpee and a pull-up, which is 2 separate movements. We got to turn it into one, and that's why I said make sure it's a jumping pull-up and not a burpee strict pull-up and not a burpee kipping pull-up, because that's just going to take you extra time. Now, ideally today, in today's workout, the rounds take you 2 minutes on the cardio, no more than, and then a minute and a half on the burpee portion. And if that's not happening, then you need to modify. Now, what do you modify? It depends. Like, why are you not finishing the rounds on time? Is it the run of the row? Because if it is, then you should just lower the distance by a little bit enough to get 30 seconds of rest each round minimally. Maybe it's the burpees. Maybe you're an incredible cardio person and you can finish a row and a run in 2 minutes or less, but it's the burpees really slowing you down. Even if it's 12, it's gonna tax you quite a bit because burpees are hard. Then we need to lower the volume of that. I always say in workouts like this that we should use the first 2 rounds to figure out how I should modify it thereafter. Literally just go until the clock says 30 seconds and then figure out what you learned. And you can't modify immediately because you have to let the first round and the second round happen. Why? Well, like for me, for example, the run portion of this workout was always slower for me, but then I got to do the row portion, and that was much faster. I was always having like a minute 15, minute 30 of rest, and that felt like enough to recover for the run, even if it was going to be slower. So you really don't know what you need to modify until after you've been through 2 rounds. But ultimately, we do workouts like this all the time. You kind of know what your body needs. And yet, let's go back to the first part of the things that I said today. Really good day to strategically pick 2 rounds somewhere in this workout that you don't want to do and get that little bit of extra rest, because I promise it'll still be a good workout. So if you earned the unbrokenness of reward from yesterday, take us up on that. Especially if you're someone watching this going, I don't know if I want to do this WOD. I promise taking 2 rounds off is exactly a great way to get through this. Now, if you didn't earn the reward, then try to slog through it. Try to modify your way through it. This is a difficult workout, but let's compare it to Threshold Thursdays. Threshold Thursdays ask you to get your heart rate your Icarus. You're flying as close to the sun, as close to a max heart rate as possible before backing it down. Today's workout, it never gets so intense that you're gonna have a max heart rate, but it is something that's gonna put you in zone 3 maybe lower echelons of zone 4, and stay at that a little while longer. That's what these workouts are meant to be. So you're never gonna have a 2-minute rest today. That heart rate's gonna stay and remain somewhat high but not maximal during your rest periods, and that's kind of the point. And the only problem is we don't all work the same. We don't have bodies and engines that work the same, and so we're all going to need something slightly different in order to make sure that we can get through this. And yet several of you will be fine just RXing this and getting through it that way as well. One final word. Even though we want everybody to have a 30-second of rest minimal, there are probably people out there, I don't know if there's any at our gym, who could time this and thread the needle just so that they're always just using enough energy to get through the workout in exactly 4 rounds and then go right into the next one sort of unfazed. I think that would be very hard to do. So when we're saying 30 seconds of rest, you could be one of those people, and if you are, great. I don't know if those people exist, but I just want to let you know that if you happen to be someone who wanted to try that, we wouldn't stop you. I just think it's a really hard needle to thread. I'd challenge someone to try. All right, enjoy.